So, hi, I'm Nadia Daggett with Graystone Investment Group, and we represent over 50 agents, and we are looking to grow our agents. And one thing that we like to specialize in is make sure we have the network and the people surrounding us to make the closings go efficiently and easily. So I am here today with Jake from Brightway Insurance, Jake Trimble, and I am excited to talk with him today and to go over insurance in the industry right now and how it's affecting the industry. And Jake, if you could tell me a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. I'm Jake Trimble. So I'm with Brightway Insurance. We are an independent agency. A little bit about myself. I'm 23 years old, but I've been in the insurance industry for about 3.5 years now. So I've gotten a little bit of a feel for some ups and downs and crazy different things. A little bit of the background there is I actually originally started with State Farm. So I was formerly Jake from State Farm. You will never see me wear khakis ever again. But I spent a year there, and it was a great opportunity to really learn the insurance industry. And after about a year there, I branched out and decided to go to the independent side, because Florida, as we all know, is an interesting insurance industry. One could refer to it as boiling water with how hectic it can be sometimes. But I was born and raised in the Clearwater area. Love to go paddleboarding, love to work out, and spend some time with family. So that's a little bit about me.
Very cool. Yep, and I know you guys have a really nice family. I see you guys paddleboarding all the time on social media, so it must be fun. So very excited to be a part of that family.
Absolutely.
So for the agents, a lot of the questions that they have is, with rates going up, how can clients and agents find lower rates?
Absolutely. That's the number one thing that we're dealing with on a day-to-day basis right now, is that everyone's rates are going up. So the first answer, or the easiest answer to give to that, is reshop that insurance policy. Some people like to stay loyal to a company, and that's great. But if you continuously see rate increases of 10 and 15% every year, 5 or 6 years down the road, what started at $1,000, now you're closer to $1,800, $2,000. Rates are going up as a whole, but that doesn't mean we can't attempt to bring that back down to the starting point. So shopping is always the first go-to there. And then looking within the policy, being educated on what that policy fully entails. I'm never one to pull coverage away. I'm always on the safe side and would rather err and have a little bit more coverage than a little bit less. But be fully educated, because everyone looks at this differently. So you need to know: do you have replacement costs on personal property? Do you want to have actual cash value? Is your house insured to too much, too little? And so really being educated on that policy is important. And then look at the little discounts on the inside. So get a wind mitigation if you haven't. We use Vanessa Martin and Martin Security Services for their for that home security discount. Everything adds up. Are you in a gated community? Some companies will do a soft inquiry, not a poll, but just an inquiry on your credit. So is this a company that is that impacting it? Just looking at all these different things can play a role in the rate that you're getting for your insurance. And that's why it's always important to have options and an agent that knows what they're talking about to kind of help educate on bringing that rate back down.
That seems like you're going way above and beyond for your clients. So that's amazing to be able to partner with someone like that for our agents. Another question that they had is, roof and the roof ages are a big concern in the insurance community. What options do clients have with older roofs?
Yeah, so the roofs are probably the most interesting thing. There's a lot of fraud surrounding the roofs right now. And to give you a quick background there is what's happening is, in the state of Florida, a lot of these roofing companies, and I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of them, they're knocking on the door and they're saying, hey, you're missing a shingle up on the roof. We can get this replaced for your deductible. Insurance is to protect against catastrophic losses. It's not a warranty. So what happens there is these insurance companies are paying for a $20,000 new roof for the price of a $2,500 deductible. The math doesn't add up in scale. It's going to hurt the insurance company. So they're all taking extreme measures right now towards the roof. So there are options, though. You're talking about 25-year-old roofs. There's companies that aren't accepting those roofs past 5 years old, as crazy as that sounds. But there are companies that say, if you get a 4 point, you show us 3 years of roof life remaining, we've got a policy waiting for you. And once again, it goes back to having options. We do have the options to write a roof that's up to 15 years old. Some go up to 20 years old. And there's different endorsements within the policy. Do you want actual cash value on the roof? And maybe that opens up a door. So it's just kind of, making the puzzle piece fit properly. So there are options. It may be a little bit more difficult, and insurance is a game of give and take, so you may pay a little bit more, but there are options for those older roofs out there without a doubt.
And that's great to know because a lot of our sales, we're going in with some of these older homes, and you have the buyer's agents saying you need to fix this because they can't get insurance. But we're able to have our agents go to you and say, well, we have another option. So we can go ahead and lock that in.
And something I always like to tell people is that if it's so hard, there's different counties, there's different rules, there's just different underwriting. So it's not a one size fits all in any situation. You could have next door neighbors that have different situations, but if you have a 4-point inspection that shows there's 3 years of roof life, Citizens Property Insurance will offer a quote. So at the bare minimum, it may not be the best option, but that is something you can bank on as long as everything is in good working condition. If there's 3 years on that roof, there's a policy waiting for you with Citizens. So.
Well, speaking of Citizens Property Insurance, they only offer 100,000 in liability. Is there a way to raise that amount?
Yeah, so this time last year, we weren't writing every single policy into Citizens, and this year we are. And I say that a little bit jokingly because there still are options out there. But with Citizens and with the influx of business, we've been trying to protect our clients a lot better with the liability. Florida's a very sue-happy state. I'm over here by US 19, but if you drive by any highway, you'll see 150 billboards that are 1-800, sue you, this, that, and the other, liability, right? So we're always trying to protect against that. And with Citizens, it's unfortunate that they only offer 100,000. So one avenue we've been taking is there are multiple companies that we represent that will do a premises liability where it will take that 100,000 as the underlying limits, and then you can add 100,000 on top, 200, 300, so on and so forth. That's probably going to be the cheapest option. It's great for rental properties. Obviously, every investor wants to make sure they're protected against liability. In that case, it's even good for just a primary residence homeowner. And then the other option that definitely provides a lot more value is we've been doing personal liability umbrellas. And there's a little bit more, I don't want to say hoops to jump through, but there's more criteria that you have to meet. Your auto insurance should be to a certain level. And then once again, the homeowner's insurance has to have the liability required on there. But if you have the 100,000 and you carry 100, 300 on your auto insurance, you can then add $1 million umbrella policy. It works just as an umbrella. It covers everything. So whether it's an auto accident, someone trips and falls, someone's bad mouthing and it's defamation of character, right? That whole thing, the umbrella would cover for $1 million, and those would run you between 600 and 800 a year in most cases for $1 million covered. That's a great option to explore as well.
That's really good to know, and great for the agents to know that is an option for them to recommend to their clients. To move on to the fun subject is that we just came out of our first hurricane of the year. So I know this is a big thing on everybody's mind, especially the buyers and the sellers. What would you recommend? What are the things that you can do for insurance-wise?
Yeah, absolutely. The biggest thing is make sure that you have a policy. Nadia, I can't tell you how many times I got a call last week that was like, hey, did I pay this? I know it was due in May, but a couple of weeks I got carried away, blah, 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 right? So make sure you have a policy first and foremost. Take a look at the policy. Because something that you'll find is that once that hurricane's within 100 miles, some companies will even do it when it's even further out than 100, but 100 is a good baseline. Once it's within that distance, they're going to shut down any kind of binding. So that 2 Thursdays ago till just about last Thursday, we weren't able to write a single policy. So it's unfortunate. I would never say this directly to the client, but if they're calling and saying, hey, can I get insurance? I'm going to have to say, good luck. Let's talk about this next week because it's something that we just can't do. Nobody's writing policies with that risk sitting right there with the hurricane. So the biggest thing is make sure you have the policy. Let's take a look at the policy. I was getting phone calls that were, hey, I'd love to increase coverage. I'd love to do this. I'd love to do that. It's too late. Right now is a great time. There's nothing out there right now. A week from now, 2 weeks from now, you never know what's going to happen. But let's have that conversation now before it gets too late, and then we're we're crossing our fingers. So.
Absolutely. I know I did the same thing where I saw the hurricane coming up. I'm buttoning everything down. I go, oh yeah, insurance. Was that caught up? So yeah, that is really important. I know for me, it might be a good idea for our agents to set a reminder to remind their clients, this is the time to check right before hurricane season. Make sure in May you're set.
And you'll have clients that are great clients, right? And I had one guy that paid off his mortgage and it was mortgagee billed and we didn't get notified of it. The mortgage company was expected to pay it, but they're not going to pay it, something that's no longer a mortgage. And so this guy's sitting without insurance and we're like, we can't do anything right now. We know it's not anybody's fault in particular. But it's just, take a look. Always just take a look, pick up the phone, make the phone call, and just double check, because once right now it's July 14th, right? What happens when it's August, September? Those waters get a little bit warmer. We got to make sure that we're prepared for that and we're properly protected. So.
Yep, and that's a good point. So having our agents being able to send a reminder to their clients and saying, hey, if you have any questions, we have our preferred provider. They can check, make sure everything's going okay. So it'd be a great thing for our agents to be that part for their clients as well. So moving on, so of course hurricanes. So you have flood. Why is flood insurance so important, and how soon can they purchase it?
Yeah, so flood insurance is very important. A lot of people say I'm not in a required flood zone, so I don't need it. And although you're not in a required flood zone, that doesn't mean you can't experience a flood. And sometimes there's a misconception with what a flood actually is. It's not just the storm surge from the hurricane. So if you're in Ocala, where you're not next to the Gulf of Mexico, or you're not, next to the Atlantic, you can still experience a flood if the sewers back up, if there's a lake in the backyard, different things like that, just torrential rain. So it's more than just the waves aren't going to reach my doorstep. Is the sewers going to back up? Is there a flash flood? Anything from the outside in, and it's not just hurricane related. So flood insurance, it can be a little bit swept under the cover. I know that nobody ever wants to pay for something that they don't see them needing, but you won't know you need it until it's too late. And flood insurance, if you don't have it already, it is a 30-day wait. So that means you needed to purchase it 30 days ago, not now, right? So now's the time to pick up the phone and take a look at that. And same thing goes for the homeowner's insurance. If you don't have prior insurance, some companies will make you wait 30 days. So we don't want to push that out 2 or 3 weeks from now. When I get to it, because then it's 30 days from when you get to it. But flood insurance is very inexpensive. What you'll find is that if you're in a non-required flood zone, it's going to run you, give or take, about $570 for the year. And that's with a lot of coverage in there. That's called their preferred policy. You can't beat that price for a great policy through the NFIP. And then if you do have flood insurance already and it's in a required flood zone, what I always recommend is shop that. We represent about 8 to 10 private flood companies. I've had a couple of clients that, they have an NFIP policy that was about $2,400. I know in particular one I saved $600 on, bringing them to a private flood company where they're equally protected, same coverage, but just for a cheaper price. So that's why it's always important to just explore every option there.
Oh, that's great. That is really good information. That's perfect. So yes, so I will include your email and phone number for the agents to contact you. I know that we have a WhatsApp group that we have for the agents, and I'm going to post this video in there for them, and they can ask you any questions that they want, and hopefully you're there to back them up, because I know for the agents, having that network, having the tools in the toolbox is the most important thing to being a successful agent. So having you there at our fingertips is an amazing option for us to have. And we really appreciate you doing this today.
Absolutely. No, and I always love to be a resource. So I always say, pick up the phone, give me the call. Hey, what's the deal with this? Because then you're not going too far into a situation. You've got a buyer, you've got this situation going on. Now you're 2 weeks in and you find out there's a problem. Let's have the phone call now. Let me give you my advice. Let's talk about it, and let's see what's really going on there.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Jake. So this is Jake Trimble from Brightway Insurance, and we're really happy to have you here with us and part of our community here, and we really appreciate you taking the time. So thank you for being here and meeting with us and all of our Graystone agents.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, have a good day. Cool. I am saving that right now.
Save that. That was awesome.